See, humility isn't a sign of weakness. Too many of us, particularly of us as men, we see humility as weakness, like I'm less than, like I'm not as strong as. Humility, best definition, is strength under control. Power under control, authority under a greater control. He's under control. This confidence gives Jesus the ability to face the most difficult task any human being had ever done. It was going to the cross. And it also gives him the confidence to serve.
Let's talk about humility, or at least the appearance of it. It's one of those things we're taught to value as a virtue, something saints and spiritual leaders embody. But what if I told you that humility, or the act of pretending to be humble, can also be a tool for gaining power? That's the idea Robert Greene explores in The 48 Laws of Power. It's not about actually being humble. It's about making people think you are. And in a world where perception is everything, that's a skill worth mastering. Take isolation, for example. Greene's Law 18 warns that cutting yourself off from others is a dangerous move. It's tempting, especially when you're in a position of power, to distance yourself from people you see as beneath you. But here's the thing. When you isolate yourself, you lose touch with what's happening around you. You become invisible, and invisibility is the enemy of power. On the flip side, when you mingle with everyone, yes, even those below you, you stay in the loop. You become a familiar face, someone people recognize and admire. It might feel like a humble act to rub shoulders with everyone, but it's also a smart one. Then there's the power of silence. Law 4 is one of my favorites. Say less than necessary. We live in a world where everyone feels the need to fill the silence with words, as if talking more makes you seem smarter or more important. But the truth is, the opposite often happens. People who talk too much come across as insecure or shallow. On the other hand, when you hold back, when you choose your words carefully, people lean in. They wonder what you're thinking. They start to see you as someone with depth, someone worth listening to. It's a subtle way to command respect without saying much at all. But what happens when you're in a tough spot? What if you're up against someone stronger, someone who's clearly going to win? That's where Law 22 comes in. Surrender when you're weak. It might feel counterintuitive. No one wants to admit defeat. But sometimes, surrendering is the smartest move. It gives you time to regroup, to gather your strength and resources. Plus, it throws your opponent off. They're expecting a fight, and instead, you're handing them the victory. It's disarming. And while they're busy celebrating, you're quietly planning your next move. Now let's talk about stepping into big shoes. Say someone legendary just left their position, and you're offered the chance to take their place. It's tempting, right? But Greene's Law 41 warns against it. When you follow in the footsteps of greatness, you're setting yourself up for comparison, and it's going to take twice as much effort to measure up. Instead, why not carve out your own path? Create your own legacy. It's a humbler approach, but it's also smarter. You're not competing with someone else's shadow. You're building something entirely your own. And then there's change. We all want to make our mark, to shake things up and leave a lasting impact. But Greene's Law 45 advises caution. Too much change, too fast, can backfire. People like what's familiar. They cling to it, even when it's not perfect. If you come in and try to overhaul everything at once, you're going to create chaos. And chaos breeds anger and discontent. Instead, introduce change slowly, carefully. Let people adjust. It's a humbler approach, but it's also more effective. You'll avoid the backlash and still get to make your mark. Finally, there's the importance of knowing who you're dealing with. Greene's Law 19 is all about understanding the people around you. Not everyone reacts the same way, and misjudging someone's character can be a costly mistake. Some people are quietly vengeful. Others are insecure or paranoid. Offend the wrong person, and you could spend years dealing with the fallout. Humility, in this case, means being careful, being observant, It means recognizing that not everyone can be manipulated or fooled, and that some people are downright dangerous. So, what's the takeaway here? Humility, or the appearance of it, is a tool. It's a way to navigate the world without drawing too much attention to yourself, while still staying in control. It's about knowing when to step forward and when to step back, when to speak and when to stay silent. It's not about being weak or submissive. It's about being strategic. Because in the end, power isn't just about what you do. It's about how people perceive you. And sometimes, the best way to win is to let others think they're winning. In a world where everyone's trying to be the loudest voice in the room, maybe the real power lies in being the quietest. In appearing humble, you disarm others. You make them let their guard down. And when the time is right, you make your move. That's the art of appearing humble, and it just might be the most powerful skill of all.